Let's go ahead and get started with your new scrubber. The first thing that we're going to do is power up the machine for transportation. From there, we're going to work through the controls, touch panel, and the menu system. Then we're going to work through operating the machine and, most importantly, cleanup and storage. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the electrical and battery system. Under the recovery tank, you'll find the following. There is an onboard solution tank, storage space for an extra set of squeegee blades, and the batteries themselves. This unit is equipped with lithium ion, but either way, you will have a maintenance-free battery set with your SC550. It is recommended to have the machine plugged in when not in operation. This will not damage the batteries, as the charger will shut down when they've reached their optimum level. All right, now that you have wound up your power cord and put into its storage compartment, we can now power up the machine for transportation. Hitting the main power button, you'll see the display illuminate. It will begin with showing you a number pad. This number pad is used to enter each individual operator's ID number. They can be assigned for each person. If the machine is in an area where it needs to be moved and you do not know the operator's number, you can hit the emergency operation button and get 60 seconds of operation. At this point, you can depress the paddles for forward movement or pull them backwards for reverse. We'll cover speeds under normal setup. Here we are back at the login screen. So I'm going to enter my operator number. Was assigned to me, and I'm going to approve with the check mark. Now it recognizes me. I also know that I have battery runtime on one side and I have solution on the other. So now I have the ability to move the units by depressing the paddles. If I press them lightly up to whatever speed I have set, the speed is set by this dial. If you notice, it's on speed 1, and as I increase it, it will go all the way up to the 3 miles per hour that the machine is capable of. We're going to, for this purposes, just keep it nice and low. Always work up to a speed that you're comfortable with. Pulling slightly back on the paddle system, either left or right, will move the machine backwards, and pressing lightly will move the machine forward. Your 24-inch scrubber requires two 12-inch pads or two 12-inch brushes. Starting with the pad driver, it has a Velcro system on it that adheres to the pad. Select the right pad for your floor type. I've chosen red. Note that to replace these pads, you should know that when they are compressed to a half thickness, that's when they should be replaced. They are no longer capable of doing a proper cleaning job. These are brand new pads, and to put them on, simply line it up, press onto the Velcro system, now applying the pad driver to the deck system. Note, there is an indicator showing which way to spin the pad driver or brush when attaching. For attaching, this is a triangular shape, and I'm looking to match it to an identical triangular shape and then latch it in place. Sliding it under the machine, lifting it up from both front and back. Once I have it centered over the triangular hub, giving it a quick twist per the indicator that's on top. Then I take the side skirt, line it up with its keyways, and let it rest into place. This prevents water from splashing out the sides, so it keeps it in line for the squeegee's pickup. When utilizing a brush, these are best used for tile, grout, and non-finish or painted surface areas. They last considerably longer and don't require changing of the pads. We're going to turn this over, and you can see the same triangular design, and on this side there is an indicator as well. As to slide the brush underneath the scrubber, lift it up, and give it the proper turn in the direction needed. Then apply the side skirt for the opposite side. Remove the squeegee blade from the bracket. Close the bracket so it doesn't get hung up during operation. Inspect the squeegee to make sure that it's ready for operation, both the rear blade and the front blade. If there is any damage, look to the troubleshooting guide. Set the squeegee on the ground next to the bracket assembly, and to attach it, simply lift up and press into the bracket assembly and tighten the knobs, hand tight only. This is a foot pedal operation. To operate the foot pedal, simply press down, and when done with the squeegee, raise the squeegee up with the top of your foot. If the squeegee is not aligned correctly and needs to be adjusted for proper pickup, note there is an adjustment knob that will raise or lower the pitch of the squeegee blade. Adjust slowly as needed, testing in between. When you found the correct spot, go ahead and continue operation of the scrubber. Now that we have the squeegee and the brushes attached to the machine, let's go ahead and fill the machine with cleaning solution for the day's activity. As we can see, we have sufficient charge and plenty of battery power to do our task, but we are low on solution. Not only can I see it here on the display, but I can verify it here on the sight glass. And yes, we are low. So let's go ahead and get more solution in the scrubber. At the front of the machine, we have the solution port. Go ahead and remove the cover, and we'll be able to fill with our water or cleaning solution here. We can either fill with a garden hose, or there is a hose assembly in the event that you don't have access to one. After stowing, you can close the solution port cover to keep debris out of the solution tank. Let's do the dilution tank next. Underneath the solution tank, we find our dilution bottle. This is for a concentrated chemical that will mix with the water in the solution tank. It will do so at the deck assembly and does not mix in the tank. This has two primary benefits. First, it allows us to quickly change the chemical within the machine. I can remove the bottle and easily change without having to go back and drain the entire machine. Second, is it preserves the equipment on the machine from the hoses, pumps, and fittings. Chemical mixed with water stored in the machine over a long period of time can cause damage. Here, we only have water in the machine. It still should be drained nightly. Last, the dilution settings are run off of the control panel and display. We'll get to those in the setting video. Let's go into the menu system with the supervisor code. Gives me a greeting and allows me access to the full menu. Once here, I can go back to the home screen. Also, back into the menu, I have help functions, which allows me for quick starts, and I can even select on the information scale. Moving back to the home screen, training mode, which allows me to go through the setups and the helpful hints, and then user manual. Hitting back again, now I have the settings. This can allow me to adjust the machine settings, user access, time and region language, along with presets, key setup, and machine info. For the most part, these are going to be supervisor based and not an operator function. Error log is also for service and technician use. We'll walk through user access so we can show you how you can program an additional person. User list, and I can add somebody if needed. Type in their name, and it'll allow me to select their usage scale from standard, operator, or supervisor. They'll have access to those features when in the menu. We'll also walk through machine settings. Tapping on this icon brings us to a number of things that we can tailor and change. As you can see, the menu is decently extensive, the most important being detergent level. Selecting the detergent level, we can also do ratio. We have 1 ounce per gallon roughly on the left side for low, and then high ratio on the right. If this is the ratios that we would like, we can simply confirm. Then, when operating the machine, we can run without water or run the onboard chemical system for a low detergent level or high detergent level. Let's work through the control panel and menu system. Here we have our login. I've already powered on the machine, but from this point, I have my drive paddles, which will operate forward and reverse, speed control, burst of power, main dial, power button itself, and the menu button. From here, I'm going to enter a login code for an operator. Operators and supervisors can have different codes. Supervisors can program certain limits for the operators only to have access to. In this case, we're going to enter a code for John Doe and accept. It's entered training mode and allows me to walk through helpful hints within operating the machine. On, next tip, and so on. Dismiss if needed. Takes me back to the main operator screen. At the home screen, I have boldly stated how many minutes within the machine and solution, which is slightly low. The main knob allows me to select between Smart Clean, Standard Clean, Deep Clean, or other presets that the supervisor has allowed. I can even operate with just the vacuum only, attach or detach the brushes. Let's start there. Accept the brush setting, release the brushes as they're currently attached, and hit OK. To attach the brushes, it's the reverse process. Make sure that the brushes are lined up with the hub assemblies under the machine. Hit attach, OK, and again. For our next setting, we'll go over to the vacuum only. This allows me to run the vacuum and pick up any solution left on the ground without running the brushes or the pads and solution. All I do is reconfirm I want to do this, and it will be in cleaning mode. Once I depress the paddles, the vacuum will wake up and begin picking up solution. Once I release the paddles, the vacuum will run for a few seconds longer and then eventually shut off. Raise and lower the squeegee with your foot just as has been described. To disengage, press the main power button again. Cleaning is disabled. Using the dial, I can now select which cleaning mode I would like. 1 for Smart Clean, which is a low chemical, low moisture, and low vacuum mode for eco-friendly cleaning. Number 2, which is a standard pressure clean, and then number 3, which is a deep clean as well. Once here, all need done is confirm, yes, I want to do this, and it will clean engage. Once I press the paddles, the brushes and the water solution will wake up. I only need to manually drop the squeegee. And once again, please remember to set the cleaning speed at a lower pace and increase as needed for comfort. If at some point that you decide that I need extra cleaning solution, I can press the burst of power button and it will, for 60 seconds, add extra detergent, water, or pressure as needed. If you are done before the 60 seconds, you can press again and cancel the feature. If the scrubber is not dispensing water or cleaning solution, first make sure the tank is full. From there, let's check the valve and filter assembly. On the left side of the tank, you'll see an indicator for a filter. Along with that, there'll be a valve which can be shut off to have access to the filter without losing your cleaning solution. You will lose a short amount, but only a little, as it's what's in the cup. Inspect the filter to make sure it's free from debris and water can flow. Reinstall. Remember, turn the valve back on for water flow. If your squeegee is leaving water behind or not picking up correctly, it may be time to do an inspection. First thing to do is to check the hose and for proper suction. Remove the hose from the bracket assembly. Check for a good suction. If there is not a proper suction, your problem will probably lie within the hose or the recovery tank assembly up top. Having good suction, we can reconnect this hose and now move on to checking our squeegee assembly. Raise the squeegee assembly. Disconnect the squeegee. With the squeegee removed, we can now inspect the squeegee assembly. First thing to check is for dirt and debris, as that can cause streaking and unsightly residue behind. Next thing is to check the blade for any nicks, scratches on the rear and the front blade. If there is damage, we need to either turn over the blade or replace it, and we're going to walk through that next. To remove the rear squeegee blade, we're going to grab the band assembly, quickly remove it from the retaining knob, and then pull back as the others will quickly release. With the band removed, I can now inspect and remove the squeegee itself. Inspect the squeegee for any damage. If it has rounded or flattened edges, it's time to either turn over the blade for a proper working edge or replace it. Having determined we only need to flip over for a proper working edge, reinstall the squeegee by hooking on the first retaining knob and following in succession. With a proper working edge on the rear squeegee blade, we can now reinstall the retaining band. To do so, line up the hole with the retaining knob and lightly pull over the next and each in succession. With the rear blade in good condition, we will now check the front squeegee blade. The front squeegee blade is held in place with a retaining band. There is a wing nut on either end of the squeegee, and these wing nuts are tool-free and hand tight. With the wing nuts loose, I can now grab the retaining band and remove it from the squeegee assembly. Inspecting the front squeegee blade, you'll see holes along the bottom edge. These are factory and needed for proper air movement and water pickup. If the squeegee has worn out too much and is not contacting the floor correctly, you will have poor water pickup, leaving residue behind. If needed, we can flip the blade over again or replace. In this case, we'll just turn it over. Having turned over the squeegee, we are now using the opposite edge, and we can reinstall it over top of the retaining knobs. And finally, we can reinstall the retaining band from one side to the other and retighten our wing nuts. With the corrections made, we are now ready to reinstall the squeegee assembly. Lift up and into the squeegee bracket, and once again, hand tight on the knobs. You may need to make some adjustments to the squeegee with the new blades. For proper adjustments, turn the knob once or twice at a time, checking for proper alignment. Never multiple turns per test. Now that we're done using our scrubber, let's clean it up and put it away so it's ready for next use. Transport the scrubber to a slop sink or floor drain. Remove the recovery hose. Uncap and drain the dirty water out of the machine. Next, we should clean the recovery tank. Remove the carry tray, open the recovery tank, and if needed, you can even remove the lid assembly. Inside the recovery tank will be a catch tray. This gets all light debris that prevents it from clogging your hose or worse, the drain. Simply open the top, knock out the debris. Having removed the debris tray, rinse out the tank. Reinstall the debris tray and the lid if removed, making sure we check the seal. Also, prop the tank open to make sure that it can breathe and doesn't develop a smell. After each use, you should always remove the squeegee assembly, inspect and wipe if needed to remove debris to prevent streaking from next use, and rinse if needed. Rinsed and ready for the next use, we can now hang it on the bracket or move it to the tank opening, which will also help prop open the recovery lid. Move the dial to brush on or off, select release brush, and press OK. With the brushes disengaged, you can slide the brushes out, turn them over, inspect them for any debris, rinse as needed, and store for the next use.